It's Friday, June 7th, Saturday, June 8th. If you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under, and this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Currently under construction. The Gavinator's looking to finish it up this weekend, so stay tuned for Monday. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel in Suho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to his YouTube channel in Suho and subscribe today. Tonight on the ET Connection, our Keith Andrews is back with another interesting and entertaining look at the peak woo and what it's like to be in contact with aliens. Keith is a lifelong experiencer who now helps counsel people who can't understand what's been happening to them. If you're in one of our chat rooms tonight, make sure you put your questions in capital letters, same as on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. I will get your questions to Keith, so sit back, enjoy, and get your alien on with us. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the news with the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. R. Keith Andrews, our good friend. How you been doing?
Oh, it's been a hectic, very enlightening and very different in a lot of ways.
But I can tell you this. In our area the last couple of days, the temperatures, last week I was bragging that it was like, you know, to our American listeners, that it was about 95, 96 degrees here last week. This week, including today, we've had snow in the higher elevations here. It is cold. I almost got to put socks on again, Keith, and I hate wearing socks at this time of year.
Yeah, well, usually at this time of year, it's pretty warm to be wearing socks.
Exactly. Except when it decides to snow.
Yeah, well, this is why I don't live as far north as you do.
Well, you live in God's country where you are.
We had a mind-boggling 6 days of snow this winter. Yeah, I know that's not depressing, isn't it?
Keith, for people who are tuning into you for the first time tonight, and we have always new listeners coming in, you're somebody who has been a lifelong ET contactee. This happened literally from the time you were born up until now. I believe you're at the age 51, 52. Great set of sideburns and hair. That's why we love you around here. But the big thing is, for people who don't know you, what's it like to live a life that's so different than what the rest of us have enjoyed?
Well, I think the biggest problem that I run into is there is no way, I have not been able to find anybody that I can honestly relate to. Okay, you know, I was asked one day how I relate to coworkers, and I looked at my boss and I went, I don't. You know, I know what people are going through, I know what they're up to, and which way they're going to turn, but I don't relate to them. Because, you know, the reality is people question, you know, the whole issue of, do we have contact? Are aliens here? What's it like? You know, what happens when you die? I've gone through the whole thing. I don't question it. You know, I sadly don't have proof of it, but except for the issue of circumstantial and confirmation by other people, or more to the point, corroboration by other people. You know, but it's a different world. You know, when they came up with the idea that truth is stranger than fiction, they were not kidding.
Mm-hmm. So for you lived a normal life, or what you perceive as normal. Did you expect growing up that every child or friend that you had a life like you? When did you notice that you were a little bit different?
In all honesty, I knew it was different. I just could not wrap my brain around other people. You know, not in the way of connecting with them. And a lot of what people, to this day, find funny, I get very confused over why they find it funny. Right. Like, my sense of humor is definitely a little off kilter, at least from what I've seen. But the thing was, I knew it was different, but I didn't realize how different until I got much older. To me it was normal to answer questions before people asked them. I didn't know until I was in my mid-20s that was actually referred to as being psychic. And I thought it was normal. If you felt like you were being followed, I thought it was normal to look up to the horizon. Wasn't until I was almost halfway through my 30s when I found out that, no, that's actually only about 1% of the population. Most people, I guess, when they feel like they're being followed, they look at eye level or, somewhere down in an alley sort of thing. They don't look to the rooftops. So I knew things were different. I just didn't understand exactly how different. The thing that I find very confusing for me is I listen to a lot of professional speakers, people that have been in this field for, decades. And I really haven't been in the field for that long. I mean, I think I've only been in it now for about 5 years. Actually working on the radio and what have you. I'd have to get a hold of the first guy that I did the radio show with and find out. But, the reality of it is that I still find it odd that people that have been in it for years actually pay attention to anything. Myself included, in all fairness. I mean, you've been actually in the industry a lot longer than I have.
Well, I don't know if I have or not. You were well involved and ingrained into this community before I showed up.
I thought you were doing I actually thought you had a radio show to this effect for a while before I came into the equation.
Oh, I think it was maybe 6-8 months, my friend. We've been hanging out together for a long time.
Oh yeah, that much I know. We're sitting close to 3 years at this point, I think.
Longer.
Really? Of course, time was never a good thing for me.
Over 4 years, my friend. You still had color in your hair when we started.
Well, that kind of went the way of the dodo bird. I got my first gray when I was only 16, so I just don't pay attention to it. People keep asking me why I don't color my hair. I'm like, why would I bother? And besides,
why not?
How hard it would be to separate one hair to color the thing.
Might be a good way to get a date, my friend. Might be a good way to get that date.
Yeah, but I've always been a firm believer that honesty is the only option that you've really got. Sad to say, I'm finding that the human race does not follow honesty as well as a lot of races. Now, granted, a lot of races they've got a system that is what humans would call brutal. You take a look at any of the reptilian races. There's no waiting for trial. It's you're done before the echo dies. But I mean, the biggest problem I run into, of course, is because of the number of different races. People talk about multicultural, it's a great way to be. Go around the world, see what the Easterners are living like, see what the people in Mexico live like, find out about their cultures. I haven't done that, in all fairness. I left the planet and went to those ones.
What's it like being out there, Keith? Because that kind of is what our Thought of the Dave question is today, kind of leaning along those lines. You're someone who has been taken. You're somebody who has gone, to where not many people have gone before. When you're out and about in space after you've been taken, what's that like? What does it feel like on a human level?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know about that, but I will tell you this. Once you get used to the whole thing, the first couple of trips you just don't pay attention. But when I got to the point of being a voluntary contact, the sensation is something bizarre. There is, if you talk to anybody that's gone in that has studied with astronauts or gone skydiving, that sense of weightlessness is absolutely real. It's very much, a lot of the time when you're moving around in zero G, it's very much like swimming. with the one sole disadvantage that the idea of with every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
It really is accurate that way. Easiest way to move forward is throw a ball behind you. We learned that as kids. So I mean.
So when you're out on these craft and you have been taken,
yeah,
are they letting you know, whatever species it may be, are they letting you know that they're taking you and that you're going on a destination, how long you're going to be gone? Have you got that modicum of respect yet?
I've got the modicum of we're going to this location. As far as telling me how long we're going to be gone, I have trouble tracking time on this planet, so they don't even bother with that anymore. They, aside from, we'll have you back before morning.
So what does it feel like? Like the next morning when you get back from being taken, what does it feel like for you? Do you feel like you've slept at all? Are you tired? Are you worn out? How does it feel?
Well, aside from one instance in particular, I'm usually quite energetic when I wake up. When I get back. The reality of it is that I usually suffer from what they call a potassium crash, right? And if you look for those of you that want to research that, any astronaut suffers the same thing. You spend time off world, you end up with a potassium crash. Okay. So, I mean, a multivitamin or a banana will do quite nicely for that.
But you don't feel hungover. Your body doesn't feel sore.
Oh, there are days.
Muscles aching.
I mean, there was one trip that I was on that we actually pulled a couple of ships back from the brink of a black hole. That one, when I got back, I hurt in every muscle of my body. Because that was a trip.
What would make that different from every other time you've been taken?
Because that particular one, I had to expend so much energy to merge two planets, and this is going to sound like science fiction, trust me on this, but we had to molecularly modify the ships to lock them together to create a counterspin so he could break out of the black hole before it got pulled inside. I remember one other time when I came back, at the time I was married, got up in the morning and I had 3 parallel gashes. One from the center of my forehead right to the temple, one from the bottom of the nose all the way around to the ear, and one that went right from the center of the chin around to the jugular. Missed the artery. But my wife at the time, her immediate comment when I got up, because there was blood all over the pillow, and she just looked at me and she goes, I don't even want to know what you were fighting. Right. I mean, that was a mess when I woke. I should have gotten pictures of it, but, what the heck.
Question coming in from Gail right off the bat. And she is asking, Keith, are you awake or asleep when you go on these trips?
Well, I could be nasty and say yes, but we'll go with what she's really asking. Most of the time awake. And yes, I do have access to get to a lot of places that many people that go don't get access to. On the Strazazian ship, for instance, that's your 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilian. I am not allowed to get in. Well, I can't get into their engine room without them. Not because they won't let me, but because the doors are too heavy. I just cannot get them open. They've got to open them up to let me in and out.
Why would you want to go in there?
Curiosity. Have you ever seen it? Yeah, there's a brilliant question. Yeah, I'm going to ask you if you've ever seen an Ote Drive.
Yeah, no, I have not. You can't make me laugh today, Keith. My lungs are way too sore for you to make me laugh.
Well, the best I can do is tell you I'll do my best not to.
Yeah, that's what you always say, and look what happened last time. But nonetheless, no, I mean, the times that I have been taken, that I recall, I only remember being on wherever I was. I can't even say that I was on craft.
Right.
But I mean, as you and I have talked about my experiences in the past, I know that I have been taken 4 or 5 times. 4 for sure. Not sure about the 5th.
Right.
I'm thinking. And 3 of the times, I knew that there were, or 4 of the times, I know there was things happening, but I don't recall actually walking around a craft or being on a craft. I remember being in rooms, but not on a craft. So I'm pretty much like everybody else who's been taken.
Yeah. I got a kick out of it the first time I actually had clinical confirmation of what I was going through. I was only 18 years old when I got clinical confirmation through a hypnotherapist. And he nearly fell off his chair when he found out. But, the first time I found out that I got clinical proof of it, so I'd gone in to see the psychiatrist because my short-term memory had collapsed. Like, completely collapsed. So this guy was trying to get it reactivated, so he put me under. And in the second or third, we were in it for about 6 months, I guess, looking for what was causing the trauma. And he finally said, forget it. He says, we're going to jump ahead as far as we have to find your first positive experience. Right? And so I was like, okay. So he brings me forward and understand, this guy was a child psychiatrist and an adult psychiatrist. He was also a GP, right, and a hypnotherapist. So when we went under, we'd been in for about 6 months, going twice a week to this guy, and he finally said, let's jump ahead and find something positive. Well, the first time that it happened, right, I come out of the session, and he looks at me, and he goes, we have a major problem. I says, what do you mean, we have a problem? He says, look, I'm a child psychiatrist and a hypnotherapist. I says, yeah. He says, well, what you're not entirely aware of is I'm also an adult psychiatrist, a member of the Past Life Regressionist Society, and a specialist in UFO abductions. Trained in England. I said, okay. I said, so why do we have a problem? He says, because your first positive memory, and understand, he left me remembering everything we pulled forward. He goes, your first positive memory is watching an Earthrise from a starship with a reptilian standing beside you, pointing into out the window. Right. So, I mean, I looked at him and went, okay. I said, so why is that a problem? Of course, to me, I'd known about it forever anyway. It's just he was the first person that ever confirmed it. And of course, with the credentials, that just makes it better, if you will.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, it's a very strange thing. You stand, what it's like to stand in front of a window that's floor to ceiling. Like on Earth, I mean.
Yes.
Okay. Picture that where the floor doesn't exist, right? And the ceiling is so far above you. It's quite frankly, it's way higher than the horizon is.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of these things that you see pictures of from like the Hubble telescope.
Yes.
The Hubble telescope images do not do them justice. The other thing that you also find is you can actually, when you get closer to a star, and especially to a black hole, the energetic feel of it, the magnetic forces that you feel, they'll make your hair stand up way better than lightning does. And without the side effects.
I got to respond to a couple things that Trip is saying here. So we got about 3 minutes to go. Sure. He's harassing me right now for the time Carl and his buddies were having the conversation, that type conversation in my yard, because I went on the Tim Hortons run before going to the lake. I was hungry. I wanted a donut, and I wanted an ice cap. Because if I was going on a ride, I needed to make sure that I wasn't famished. Plain and simple.
Well, yeah.
The harassment I take over this from him. Any good Canadian would do the same thing. Before you go on a spaceship, or potentially go on a spaceship, you make a Tim Hortons run. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's getting me fired up here.
And besides that, the funny thing is they've got a drink on the off-world. They have developed a drink that is, I've got to piece together. What I'm going to do is play around until I can replicate it here, or at least get close to it.
Yes.
The fun part about it, and you'll love this one, a lot of what we talk about here, and here's one I haven't told you. You know the novel I'm writing?
Yes.
Right. Well, the series is going to contain a lot of the information that we've talked about because it all applies.
Excellent.
Many of the things that we've talked about, I will be touching on. But you're absolutely right regarding making sure that you've got something to deal with, because I'll tell you, some of what they've got, well, frankly, they do not have coffee. They've got a substitute, but I got to figure out how to replicate that. And no, I don't have a replicator, so that makes it a little rough.
We got about a minute to go here on Spaced Out Radio before we go to break at the bottom of the hour with our Keith Andrews. Keith, when you are on craft, are you affected by the lack of gravity?
Well, in the same way you would expect. You float around a lot. But in all fairness, not as you might think. The reality is they've got the anti-gravity fields inside the ship so you can actually walk around normally. There are times when that would be nice if they didn't do that, but they've got the inertial dampener so you don't have to worry about that too much. Where it gets dicey is when you end up in combat.
Do they have seat belts?
Pardon?
Do they have seat belts?
No. Quite frankly, they really don't. But
so you're sitting there banging the walls while they're doing all their defensive, evasive maneuvers because, the Hologongs or whatever the hell they're called are right behind you shooting their laser beams at you.
Well, the neat part there is the gravity compensators stop you from bouncing off the walls any more than you normally would.
Well, that's nice. Keith, hold on. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. The ET Connection happens the first Friday of every month. We'll be back with more of your questions. Peak Woo at its finest tonight. Our Keith Andrews. The ET Connection. We'll be back. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for starting your weekend off with us. Reminder that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. All of our archives are free. And our website, we're hoping to have a full Monday launch. Yeah, the Gavinator's going to spend the next couple of days putting the finishing touches on it. Captain Shirks put all the news on there, including her latest blog on why she loves Rob Zombie and so much more. We're going to get into it. Our Keith Andrews is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio with the ET Connection. It happens the first Friday of every month. Make sure you're all ready for the woo train, because here we go. Keith, welcome back to the show.
And thank you very much for having me, and welcome back to all the listeners, and thanks for hanging around.
No problem. Keith, we've discussed this a couple of times over the 4 years you've been on the show, but, you know, Trip is asking in the chat room for a little bit of a refresher. Have you ever done the coin experiment?
I don't even know what the coin experiment is, to be honest with you.
Okay, you and I have talked about this because I had heard this from other experiencers, where you take a couple of coins and you put them on your nightstand or on your dresser. That if you think you're going to be taken, you kind of put it out there to the universe that if you get taken, the coins will move. So if you have the coins stacked, they'll end up side by side.
Right.
If they're side by side, they'll end up stacked. You know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah. No,
okay.
I know what you're referring to.
Is that a good way for people to figure out whether or not they are being taken at night if they have suspicion?
Not as good as you might think. In all fairness, talcum powder works better. And if you've ever noticed when you're walking around the room in the dark, you don't usually run into a table hard enough to separate the coins. So it's almost a question of whether or not they actually pick them up to look at them. But talcum powder, it doesn't take you much to time if somebody touches it to find tracks in it. So no,
true,
you know,
but who really wants to spread talcum powder all over their floor, though?
Well, I agree with you as far as that side of it goes. You know, it's not a bad idea if you take something light, right, like a light picture frame that's easy to topple but won't fall over on its own. That's probably a better option. You know, simply because you want something that will move easily, and coins are not easy to move. You know, it does work. And I know that the people have reported it having worked quite well to confirm there was something going on.
All right. The other thing Trip is bringing out, because we got a lot of new people in our chat rooms and listeners, he says, hey, what a boot. I don't say a boot, first off. All right? It's about. So I'll pronounce this like Trip has written it in the chat room on Spreaker. Hey, what a boot the time you told them you were going to pee all over their ship. Okay, so here's what happened. I guess I should get into this, Keith.
It would seem.
Yeah, apparently I have to now. It's Friday night. What the hell? On September 27th, I emceed a UFO conference for a good friend of mine, Johnny Enoch. 3 days later, I was sitting on my patio and started doing a little bit of channeling, and when I had my eyes closed, I saw this little E.T. dude standing behind my chair, kind of peeking out. He kind of looked like a cross between a gray and, remember the movie E.T.?
Yes.
What E.T. looked like. So that's kind of who I was dealing with. And this little guy, he was maybe 3 feet tall, right? Maybe 3 feet tall. Tiny guy. So I go to bed that night like nothing else had happened. You know, normal night, crawl into bed, doing my research, trying to figure out what the heck is going on with me, fall asleep. The next thing I know, I wake up to the feeling of little children's fingers running through my beautiful, luscious hair, which was quite short back then. And my eyes popped open, and I realized that I was lying on my stomach, and my face was kind of like, if you go to a masseuse, they got those tables where you put your face down, and it's kind of like in a donut so you can breathe underneath.
Yeah.
That's where I...
Suffocating if they don't do that.
Exactly. So I pick up my head, I look to my right, and it's dark. But I know I can tell that there's light coming from the other side. So I turn my head over the left, I look over my left shoulders, and that's where I see 3 of these little gray dudes in silverish black suits. I could see their hands, I could see their heads, I could see the light. And I remember saying to myself, holy crap, I've been abducted. And I put my head back down. It was almost like they had commanded me, and I just realized that was something I had to do.
Right.
The next thing I know, I feel this cut to the back of my head. And I feel these little fingers go in between the skin on my scalp and my skull. And they start reefing on that skin backwards. And I start screaming.
Can't imagine why.
Exactly. I mean, what else do you do? And then I heard the best way I could describe it. It didn't sound like a saw, but I don't know how else to describe it, Keith. I'm sure you've seen the tool.
Oh, I know the tool. I've actually pitched a couple of them.
Yeah, it doesn't even sound like a saw, but I feel them cutting into my skull. And now I'm really screaming. I'm really pissed off because this hurts. And then the strangest thing... What's that, Keith?
I said they don't really understand the amount of anesthetic they should really be using.
Exactly. Like I needed at least 4 vials of Demerol in order to numb that sucker. But nonetheless, I remember at that moment I heard a good friend of mine, Samantha Mowatt's voice. And her voice said, "Don't worry, Dave, it doesn't hurt. You just think it hurts." Or something along those lines. And almost instantaneously, the pain went away. And it got really, really ticklish. So here I feel this one dude is pulling on my skin, trying to bring my skin forward towards my forehead. The second guy is now pulling up, got his fingers in my skull, trying to pull it up, while the third guy is trying to jam something in there, obviously an implant. And this is where the back of my head will start to pulsate now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I get hit with this urge to take a pee. As my friend Corey Squirrel Nuts just walks into the studio. And anyways, I gotta pee. So I start yelling at these guys, "You gotta hurry up here. I gotta pee like a racehorse. And I'm going to pee all over your table if you don't get me back to my house right now." And all of a sudden I feel them scrambling, Keith. They're going all over the place, trying to zip me up, and I don't know, maybe they use the sutures or whatever. And I'm yelling at them through this donut where my face is, and I'm saying, "Come on, hurry up, guys. I got to take a pee. Hurry up and get me back right now." The next thing I know, I wake up, my face is buried in my pillow, I'm above my covers, 2 ways I don't sleep. My head is absolutely thumping with a major, major headache. I run to the bathroom, must have stood there for about 5-6 minutes, having the best piss of my life, pardon my language. And my head is killing me. And I'm trying to remember everything that's going on, and I'm like, I can't believe that just happened. I cannot believe that's just real. And that's the first time I got taken, Keith.
Yeah,
I had to get back because I had to pee.
Well, in all fairness, if you've ever, and no, you haven't, but when you're on a starship, if the gravity is not working absolutely perfectly and you spill a glass of water or a cup of coffee, it makes a mess. Well, you don't want that happening in a case like you described.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, what else am I supposed to do? What else am I supposed to do? I got to pee, man. And I know there's people rolling their eyes right now saying, really? Really, Dave? BS that happened. I actually had, this is way before I met you and before I even started this show. I remember going up to Samantha Mowat and talking to her about it and other people who I knew were very connected. And they would actually put their hand on the back of my head where that implant went in, and they would feel the pulsation still happening.
Well, the funny part about that is the reason they do it that way is you never find and you know this yourself, especially at that point, you'd never find where the implant was put in because they peeled the thing out of the way and flipped it in underneath. So, of course, the insertion point didn't make any sense as to where the implant itself actually was.
Exactly. Although, it's funny because every time I tell that story, that area literally starts to pulsate. Still, to this day.
And to me, that makes total sense. Of course, there's a lot of things that make total sense to me that many people look at going, huh?
Exactly. But, I mean, everybody's experiences are different. I've had some, I don't consider that a bad experience.
No.
As weird as that may sound, I really don't. I consider it an interesting experience. I've had the ugly. I've had the bad. I remember punching a gray.
Yeah.
I remember threatening to kill a gray and do nasty, horrible things to him.
Gee, I can't imagine why.
No.
Yeah, but it's people like you that make them bring the Nords along.
Why is that?
Well, because Nords at least look human. And it does seem to have a calming effect on people. Right? On people when they do that. You know, when they bring the Nords into the equation.
Right.
You know, because as soon as they do that, they people have a tendency of at least relaxing a little.
Right. Speaking of bathrooms, Uncle Dale and his power stash in the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook would like to know, how do the different races handle the need to go to the bathroom? Is it the 3 seashells effect or what?
Yeah, I know what you're referring to. Sad to say. You got to remember, they are all built differently, so there's a lot of different methods that get used. But ultimately, it boils down to the same thing. You know, they still try and, especially under the circumstances, they still try and keep it relatively private and definitely contained. But, I mean, you're looking at a zero-G situation. You know, so the configurations are quite varied depending on what race you're looking at. You know,
well, talk to me about that.
Well, there's one race that they just don't bother, and that'd be the amoebics. They just don't bother. They absorb everything and carry on. You know, but ultimately it boils down to a spot to go where, you know, usually, because some of the races have to stand up and some have to sit down, there are varied receptacles. But the dangerous part about it, or the best part about it, if you will, is unlike with modern day aircraft where they've got a holding tank. These guys dump it straight into the fusion reactor. You know, it literally immediately feeds the rocket fuel, if you will.
So their dookie is making them fly.
Essentially, yes. They are.
That's some powerful poo, man. Powerful poo.
Well, you got to remember, it boils down to do not waste material. Like the neat thing with humans when they show a starship movie and somebody dies, they put them in a pod and they fire them out into space, head for the nearest star. These guys don't bother; they flip them over the bank into the fusion reactor and be done with it. You know, some of them have a ceremony before they do it.
That's some great ethyl, man. How many miles per gallon are you getting off the pee? You jerk. Okay. I get 500 light years to the gallon. Oh, God. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's just terrible.
That's your fault.
Oh, do not let Ford, GM, Chrysler, or Toyota know about this. Kia, maybe. None of the big four.
Well, the sad part is, you know, fusion reactors are a great item, but and this is what people don't realize is even the off-worlders went through the idea of using nuclear reaction and nuclear fission before they got to fusion. You know, but the Ote Drive is definitely a better setup than that is. But the fusion reactors work beautifully for that sort of thing. The other issue that you got to remember is that they also use smaller ones for weapon charging. You never put all your power systems tied to the same power.
Oh no, you never go full piss. Is that thing got a Hemi? Oh, Keith. We got to bring this back. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Dale is asking, do they have to disinfect their fusion reactors? I mean, that must really stink after a few days.
Absolutely not. Nice thing about a fusion reactor is it's clean energy.
Oh, yeah, goodness.
It's a complete molecular breakdown.
Okay. I think I've gained my composure here.
Yeah, don't bet on that. But it's a nice thing.
Oh.
I refuse to take credit for that. That's your fault.
Oh, my gosh. People are asking, did Dave just snort? Yes, Dave accidentally snorted there while laughing. We got about 4 minutes here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour, Keith. In regards to the way they get across the universe, how are they traveling so fast? Have you ever been told, are they using wormholes to get here outside of or are they traveling? Have they figured out a way to go beyond the speed of light?
Yep, they have. I mean, I can explain it in real simple terms, but we don't have a long enough show to explain it to the layman. But it's called the Ote Drive. It literally boils down to it feeds off the shockwave that your departing free electrons make. Right? The actual term for it is, and I've mentioned this before, but it literally boils down to, it's called the oscillodesification of the tri-transtemporal equipolarity. Is the long term for it. And it works like an absolute charm. It feeds off existing electrons. Okay, anybody that has basic physics knows that I think it's physics, might be chemistry, basic chemistry, knows that that during the process, the electrons will break away from atoms periodically and travel and be picked up by another electron. What most people don't realize is that creates a shock wave. The Ote Drive feeds off the shock wave and transfers that into the engine. Net result, they travel a heck of a sight faster than light. And you couple that with either using a slingshot effect around a gravity well, which is either a star or a black hole, or they use a wormhole, or a combination of the two. Yeah, if you ever you want to see something fun, picture riding a bobsled, right, through a wormhole. It's a riot and a half. You know, and Disneyland had a ride. I wrote it years ago. They had a roller coaster in the dark. I think it was called Thunder Mountain. Right, and we're talking 30 years ago.
Still there, and still a good one. Yeah,
that is a pretty decent rendition of it. I mean, without getting you off planet. You know, because the only thing is that the lights, when you're going through, it's not just a case of the lights change, but you can feel the shift in the magnetic field. The one thing you don't want to be doing is you don't want to have them take you on that kind of ride if you happen to be carrying a pacemaker, because that'll muck up the pacemaker in a hurry.
Definitely. We got about a minute to go here. So are you saying they don't use wormholes, that they use speed instead?
Oh, no, they do, and they use a combination. It depends on where they're heading. I mean, wormholes are used for intergalactic. Okay, but if you're going for interstellar, if you're just going between galaxy or around the solar system, they use speed.
Interesting.
And you get some of these wingnuts that decide that it's really fun skipping off the atmosphere. You know, that's where you get the hot dogs. And I don't mean
is that almost like the same sense of throwing a rock along, into a lake or into water where it skips?
That's exactly what it's like.
All right. Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on here as we are going to go to break at the top of the hour. R. Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. The ET Connection happens the first Friday of every month. Keith's next appearance will be Friday, July 5th. I think we've already hit peak woo. The woo train is going into hour number 2 on Spaced Out Radio right after this. We'll be right back.
Hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. the SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything is an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hey, this is Canadian paranormal investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show and Sunday, Tess is back with Spaced Out Weekend. She gets going at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF, AM 1560, KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, and in New Orleans, UPRN 107.7 FM. On the digital side, we say hello to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight to the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gaberloonzy. Gaberloonzy is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. But you got to wait till Monday. I believe that is launch day for our brand new site. I've seen it. It's looking very, very good. So stay tuned. The Gavinator's working pretty darn hard on it right now. The first Friday of every month, we bring in R. Keith Andrews, a lifelong ET experiencer, for the ET Connection, where we go over your questions, as weird as they may be, to get the answers to some of the experiences that we are having. Keith, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome back to you as well. Of course, you got the control of it. You don't want to come back. The show goes off the air.
Well, all I'm saying is if you keep me laughing like this, you're going to make sure that the show is done early, and all of the fans of yours who've been looking forward to this episode for literally 4 weeks now are going to be pretty darn upset. So I'm blaming you if you make me laugh.
Well, considering the fact that I'm not the one with the sense of humor.
Oh, yeah, I know. Now, right before the break, we were talking about the propulsion of these craft that are up there. Keith, in your discussions and in your experiences with a lot of these Sorry, I'm trying to kill a mosquito here that's in the studio.
Flamethrower. They work
when you. Yeah, I don't want to burn the studio. I kind of like it, but in regards to the conversations you have had with a lot of these ETs that are out there that have visited this planet, and there's been quite a few species that you have. Have you ever got into them to get information about crash retrievals that have happened here on Earth? And I think of Roswell, I think of Shag Harbor, I think of San Augustine, a lot of these places where UFOs have crashed. Have any of these species ever discussed these events with you?
Well, they have. And the general consensus, the reason they don't worry about it is because, it's kind of like, you drop a crystal computer into the middle of a backwards planet, and they're going to look at it and go, oh, it's a pile of rocks, and okay, they were mounted together. But humans do not understand off-world technology. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are figuring it out, but it takes them decades to piece it together. And the theory is, the reason they don't come back looking is because do understand they're trying to keep things rather on the QT, and periodically you leave something behind. But coming back to get it would give way too much evidence to start with. I mean, here you have this ship that you collected, and you've taken it back to a super secret conclave, and then a bunch of off-worlders show up on your doorstep and go, "Excuse me, I know we don't want you to know for absolute certain we're here, but we'd like our ship back to that end, if you would." You see where there's a problem here.
Yeah, I do. But are they concerned about us being as wild and crazy as we are with our military-industrial complex in actually being able to reverse engineer a lot of this technology?
Not a whole lot, and one of the reasons that they're not overly worried about it is because mankind is looking at gravity backwards. And as long as mankind keeps doing that, they won't be able to do what they should be able to do with the ships. See, mankind is still working with a backwards concept of gravity. They're still working with light being the speed limit. And as long as they keep that frame of mind, then they will not be able to realize the potential of what they're sitting on. It's like if you give an Aboriginal a shotgun, right? He gets the shell and what have you. It's black powder and what have you. If he does not understand what that's capable of doing, he's not going to go anywhere with it. He may use it for a moment, but it'll run out of gas pretty quick.
How?
Yeah. And as for leaving bodies behind, well, fortunately, the off-world bodies, when they die, they still decompose at a normal rate. And humans have not figured out their own genetics well enough to be able to cross-reference. Mankind is still on the whole working on the double helix, and that has been backwards for decades. And it's like, because of the fact that mankind science is still at from the off-world standpoint, mankind's level of technology is still kindergarten dropout level.
All right.
So are they worried about it? Not really.
Got a couple questions from the audience coming in for you, big guy. PBR is asking, Keith, do you know which aliens are flying the craft in those videos that have been released by the government to the Stars Academy? Tic Tac, the gimbal film, they've been all over the internet.
They probably have, and I haven't seen one of them. I haven't looked at the videos at all, so I've got nothing to work with. Somebody want to tell me what they look like? I might be able to tell you what they are.
Well, it's kind of hard to describe without seeing the videos. So we'll move on here, and maybe I'll tag you in them afterwards.
Okay.
All right. Kimmy is asking, Keith, have you ever met a Nordic alien? What was it like?
Looking up a long way. You know, they're genuinely nice people. You know, I mean, basically, Nords carry themselves very much like humans, but they are far more honor-bound, mind you. They're far more honor-bound, but much quicker to trigger their temper. You don't want to get into a fight with these guys. But genuinely speaking, they're very sociable individuals, quite willing to share their knowledge. You know, and quite talkative where it comes to asking what humans are like or what drives humans. You know, the nice part about it is they're the ones that the Greys bring along with them in order to help calm humans down. You know, in the event of an abduction.
Right.
You know, and when I say it's very much a case of looking up, most of the Nords are over the 6 foot mark. I mean, they're not incredible giants, but I'm only 5'7", so you still have to look up a fair piece. You know. But they've got much as they've got better technology than us, they've still got the clan mentality.
Okay, so with the Nords, describe them for people who may not know.
Well, the reason people call them Nords is because they look very much like the ancient human Nordics. 6 to 6.5 feet tall when we're talking the full-grown adults. Very physically fit, blonde-haired. More often than not, they're blue-eyed, blue or green-eyed. They tend to be heavily tanned, but that's because of the amount of time they spend outdoors when they're not on a ship. Okay. They usually wear their hair in long braids, and they flat out refuse to cut it or their beards. Okay. They still, much as they've got advanced weaponry, they still prefer the close combat when it comes to a fight. They use ranged weapons only if they have to. Like if you're on a starship, a little hard to use a sword. At least to fight with the other starship. You know, but they're very interested in the idea of sitting down and talking before firing. Like, if there's one race that does not like fighting, oddly enough, it's them. They did have a rather bloody early time when they were first getting together. They had wars that would have made mankind's wars look like just kind of a walk in the park. And I don't mean Grand Central Park.
But they're beautiful, though. Everybody who's seen the Nords say they're very beautiful.
They are. They're very well put together. You know, you won't find an ounce of fat on any of them. You know, the thing is they eat extremely well. They eat a lot, but they eat extremely well. Right? There's no shortage of drink. But they also, they work hard and they play hard. And they do pride themselves on their physique. You know, like, the reality is, from their standpoint, if you aren't walking around with a six-pack, and they're quite willing to show it. You know, most of their clothing reveal a lot of if you will, publicly, in human terms, publicly permissible, you know, flesh tone. You know, go to the beach, you'll see more. But other than that, they are very proud of their physique. And especially when it comes to, you know how they say that a woman's hair is a crowning glory?
Yes.
That's very much the case with the Nords. You know, they take great pride in having it very shiny, very well groomed. You know, you really can't find something from a physical standpoint to go, oh, they don't take care of themselves. You know, and I don't know how they manage it, but it's got to have something to do with their diet. I really don't know this one. But you'll never find a cavity. You know,
do they have teeth? Do they have teeth like we do?
Oh yeah, very very similar to human teeth. You know, they are omnivores, right? I mean, they do like their protein, but the reality of it is, they are very much omnivores. And therefore, the teeth evolved for the same purpose.
Now, being so humanoid looking, how tied are we as a species, DNA-wise, towards them?
We're not. I mean, are they compatible? Certainly. But they're not. The Nords are not. Humans are not Nords, and Nords are not humans. Humans are much more closely genetically tied to the Mobians. Of course, the Mobians originated on Earth and then left. So, okay. No. Much as the Nords look human, they aren't. One of the biggest differences with the Nordics is you shoot, and this sounds really bad, but you shoot a human in the bottom right-hand side or bottom left-hand side of the chest, you'll take the heart out. All you'll do if you shoot a Nord there is tick him off. Okay, you punch a hole, absolutely, but you will simply tick him off.
Right.
And you don't want to do that.
I can see that.
I mean, no,
right.
Shoot a human there, it's going to tick them off, too, if they live long enough to do anything with it.
All right, let's move on to a new question here. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio for the ET Connection. Catherine is asking, Keith, let me just, sometimes her spelling isn't that good. Yeah, Catherine, I'm bugging you tonight because I know you're working off of your phone. Let me see here. Something about putting out a request to have some off-world spirits for, could you ask out I don't even know what she's trying to say here. I'm going to move on. What's a Draconian's favorite food from Catherine? That's her second question.
Well, quite frankly, the Drakes have a pretty wide array. But generally speaking, they're carnivores. They don't, technically speaking, have a favored food. It's more a question of it's got to be live and it's got to be, it's got to be enough of it. Which, needless to say, cattle and the bigger bovines work out rather nicely because of the amount that's there. Because you got to remember, humans sit down, you take a cow, and you'll feed 100 people without too terribly much trouble if it's a large cow. You might feed 2 drakes. Because you got to remember, drakes are anywhere from 12 to 15 feet tall to start with. Which means they're going to put through an awful lot more protein than humans will. But we do have to be clear that drakes are not the only reptilians out there.
What are the drakes? Are they like a species of gray?
No. No, the drakes are a 12 to 15 foot reptilian. I call them reptilian because that's what they look like. Okay. They look like a small bipedal dragon, complete with wings. Like what mythology paints as dragons. Drakes fit the bill quite nicely. They're just not 300 feet long. Okay. But they are reptilian. They're not related to the Greys. They are related to the Srazazian and the Tormenon. Or more to the point, the Srazazian and the Tormenon are descendants of the Drakes due to a galactic collapse a while back. Their empire ran into some problems, and the Srazazians and the Tormenon got separated and evolved down their own line.
Explain that. How did you find out about that?
History 101 on the Srazazian homeworld.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And that's a world you don't want to go walking around outside. That'll kill you.
So when you go to these places, are you escorted for your own safety?
In most cases, yes. I mean, you don't want to go to the Muldock homeworld without escort.
Why?
Well, you know what a Wolverine is.
Yes.
Okay, well, picture a Wolverine on steroids the size of a Megatherium. And that's one of their small animals.
They're already angry little bastards.
Well, yes, I realize that. Just for those that don't recognize that, the Muldock, if you want to see what a Muldock actually looks like, watch the movie Predator. Perfect rendition.
Really?
And yeah, they are, but the animals on their world make the worst outback that you've seen on this world look like a walk in a candy store. The reason for the homeworld with the Greys that you want to have an escort is because it's so easy to get lost. It's kind of like getting dropped in the middle of the Brazilian rainforest. If you don't know your way around, you're going to get lost in a hurry.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you usually have an escort simply because, I mean, heck, on this world, if I were to come out to your end of the world, and I mean yours personally, I wouldn't go out in the bush without you. Okay, because you'd be sending 911 out to find me. So I mean, I can get lost here. I don't need help. So yeah, I definitely don't go anywhere without an escort.
Right. So when they take you out there, how are you breathing? Are you in some sort of space suit? How are you protected?
In most cases, like in the Strazazian homeworld, absolutely. You absolutely go out in protective gear. Because you know what a sandstorm is here, right? Like, you go to the area, you see a sandstorm, and murder. Well, picture, if you will, a sandstorm that'll strip a human body bare to the bone in a matter of minutes. Okay. Which gives you an idea, because the Strazazians will walk around outdoors in that. Which might give you an idea of the density of their skin. So you definitely want to wear protective gear there. You have to wear protective gear on the Palladian homeworld. Okay. And you're fine on the Greys homeworld, because I mean, frankly, the atmosphere is virtually identical, just a little more humid. So,
where's that in Orion's belt there?
Yeah, that's Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah,
but its atmosphere is pretty stable as far as humans go. It's a little different, but, you might be a little lightheaded if you're trying to overexert yourself. But, overload on oxygen on Earth and you'll have the same problem. They've got a much more pure atmosphere.
Very true indeed. Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we are going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Our Keith Andrews is here with the ET Connection. We're taking your questions from the chat rooms in Spreaker, SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, and in the Revolution Radio chat room. Also on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. We'll be back with more Art Keith Andrews and the ET Connection right after this.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Hanging out with all of you heading into the weekend. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always go check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. That's where we store our archives. They are free for you, so make sure you do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, according to the Gavinator, should be up and running by Monday. It's been a long wait, but well worth it. Stay tuned for the new look, Spaced Out Radio website, coming soon. Our Keith Andrews is here the first Friday of the month with the ET Connection, where we get into all things peak woo when it comes to ET contact. Keith, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and welcome to all the listeners who are here and the new ones who have joined us since.
All right, we're going to start off with Sharon's question. Keith, how often do extraterrestrials use holograms to communicate with us, and how can we tell if it's a hologram or a true experience?
Well, the easiest way to the frequency, that really depends on the rays. From what I've gathered, a fair chunk because they're still trying to avoid complicating life. But as far as how you can tell, it's easy. If you can see through them, they're not physical. The reality is that the holograms are designed specifically so you know they're a hologram. The thing is, you may mistake a hologram for a ghost, or vice versa.
Right.
But as far as frequency, I'd be hard pressed to give you a percentage. It is a normal method. They've also got another method, which is a psychic, and quite literally, it's a mental projection. Depending on the race, either one can be used. And they essentially look the same way. Mind you, the big difference there, a hologram, whoever's in the room will see it. A mental projection, only the person that is receiving it will see it.
So I think the question goes to lie, though, that a lot of people who have these experiences, Keith, myself included, many of us have a hard time wondering if we are having a nightmare, some sort of dream, some sort of lucid dream, or if we're actually having the experience ourselves.
Yep. And that is a very valid point. Because all of them have much the same in common. And the one thing that you look at, the easiest way to tell if it's a physical as compared to a dream or a lucid dream is with dreams and lucid dreams. On the whole, you won't have lasting marks that last days. You may have a mark, a discoloration, or you might even have something as severe as a scratch with a dream, because your body will mimic what your mind sees. But if you're coming up with bruises, rashes, scoop marks that last days or weeks, you had a physical encounter. It's the easiest way to put it, but the emotional response is going to be the same regardless.
For those of us who have been taken, what should we, if we suspect that we have, like say our listeners go to bed tonight and they wake up in the morning and feel that they were taken overnight?
Well,
what kind of examination, Keith, should they be giving themselves to look for these marks, and what should they be looking for?
Well, if you're thinking you were taken, the odds are that you're dealing with a sample run, which means check for easily accessible things, like your forearms or your thighs. Looking for a scoop mark basically looks like you take a melon ball, or just a tiny wee one, and remove a little bit of the skin and flesh. So it'd just be an indent in your body that stands out as you don't remember seeing it. Right. There is a neat little pattern there's a neat little pattern of 3 dots with a line underneath, and the 3 dots in a triangle that you look for. More often than not, you won't find that if you're looking for it yourself, because more often than not, you'll find it behind the ear, or right in the, at the base of the nose is another place I've seen it. Sometimes you'll catch it in the back of the shoulder. Okay, but it's always the same pattern. The thing is only about the size, it's only got a span of about half the size of a dime. Right.
What about scratches?
Scratches can come anywhere for obvious reasons. The most likely places would be around the wrists or the ankles. Okay, and understand, if they are, the odds are they'll be very mild. We're not talking about gashes. Picture, if you will, a cat scratch. That kind of a scratch. Okay, but they'll be in a pattern that looks very similar to where fingers would fit. Depending on those are some of the more common ones. There's a lot of variables that can come into play. But you look for marks on your body that do not make sense.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you tell by the marks on your body who took you, or do they all leave relatively the same?
Most of them leave relatively the same. There are a few that have very distinct marks. I saw one person with it. I've seen the race a number of times. But I saw one person that had it. They had a set of circular imprints around the entirety of their arm. And there's only one race that'll do that to you. And they do it quite by accident. It's just a side effect, but that's the octopods.
What do they leave?
Literally have tentacles that they hold you with, and, well, they leave a mark.
Interesting.
Yeah, most of them use the same tool, or use very similar tools.
Joe is asking in the chat room, can human men breed with Nordic females and vice versa, Nordic males with female humans?
The answer to that is yes. They can, but the minute you start talking... I had another person I was talking to just yesterday that was telling me that they were breeding with a mantis, and that will not happen without the female being terminated. Okay, like you can breed with an Ord, no problem. Okay, Arcturons you can breed with, Mobians. You cannot breed with Greys. Now, don't get me wrong, there are Grey hybrids, but that's a genetic hybridization. That's done by gene splicing in the lab. But the Nords, it's absolutely possible. Even the fairy folk you can breed with. Hence why we have half fairy. Also known as, also what people tend to refer to as elves.
Sleepy Dave is asking, with all this hybrid talk recently, is contaminating the human race a good thing or a bad thing with all of the hybridization going on? Is it here to help the human race or not?
It's not designed to affect the human race any more than the idea of building cultural interpreters. Okay, it won't hurt the human race per se. Okay, because there's not enough of it happening to, like, if he's worried about, he or she is worried about diluting the human race. No, there's not enough of it going on to make an impact. Okay, and no, in all fairness, when you think about it, even if we go generations down the road, it's not enough to make an impact. Humans are far too prolific, and their genetic superstructure shifts gears. Any of the hybridization becomes recessive genes. Okay, but you're talking a very small percentage-wise, really.
Maureen on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio is asking, Keith, I believe I saw an alien when I was about 12. It reminded me of Lurch from... what's that television? Yeah, from the Addams Family. But it was somewhat hunched over and very skinny. It was about 8 feet tall. What kind of alien was this?
In all likelihood, she was looking at quite literally a giant. Not so much technically an alien, but mankind used to be a heck of a sight taller. Okay, mankind, just like the plants and the dinosaurs, used to be a lot bigger than what they are. But that has to do with the deoxygenation of the planet. Okay. I'm just trying to think here, which is a dangerous thought for me in the first place.
Well, don't hurt yourself.
I do my best not to.
Well, that's good.
In all likelihood, she's looking at quite literally a giant. Okay. Much as they're nice enough people and very gentle, unfortunately, they can be a little on the clumsy side at the same time.
All right, Bob is asking in the chat room, how do these aliens reproduce? Is it via intercourse? Is it via test tube?
Well, again, we've got a neat little issue. Most of it is by it would be by human method. Okay, there are a number of them that reproduce in ways that mankind would understand. Many reptilians still lay eggs. Okay, one of the few reptilians that don't lay eggs there's two that don't lay eggs. The gray and the grays, which aren't technically reptilian, but the Chitawari give birth to live kids. But your Drakes, your Strazazians, your Teklex, and your Tormenon all give birth via egg. And that is a real fascinating thing to go into. You go into their hatcheries, it's just phenomenal to watch.
The Greys are produced scientifically, though, are they not?
No. Not any more than what modern-day humans are. They reproduce naturally. They are not a race going extinct. They were not, and they're not a construct, that was built for anybody. They're very much a flesh and blood race that quite literally reproduces under, if you will, natural means.
All right. Let's move on here. Got a lot of people asking, Keith, about what we talked about last month. Lots of people. We're going to touch on this quickly here. Chuck wants to know. Marty wants to know. Derek wants to know. Mr. Skeptic wants to know. Michelle wants to know. What kind of ET did you eat?
That's easy. Strozosian. Which, in answer to the question that goes hand in hand with that, go buy yourself an alligator. Tastes kind of similar. Actually, I should clarify. I actually haven't had alligator yet. I intend to, but I haven't found a place to buy it. Amazingly, up here in Canada, we just don't have them. You know? But, you know, I mean, that, from what I understand, that's about the same flavor.
Right.
But I mean,
a Pepsi.
The hard part, well, hard part is the hard part. They're very similar, if you will, to a lobster from the standpoint of the strength of the skin that you got cut through. You're not doing it with a knife, by the way.
Now, when you did this, I don't want to get into the gory details again like we did last week. I know the audience would like us to go there. I really don't want to go there.
That works easily.
But on Earth here, we've seen cultures really, really bond with strangers over food.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter whether it's, you know, an African tribe in the middle of the desert of Africa. It doesn't matter if it's a jungle tribe in Brazil, or just a family who invites you into their home for dinner somewhere in rural America.
Right.
You seem to bond over food. Is that what it was for you? Was a bonding moment with the alien species?
Oddly enough, I'd say, you know, quite frankly, for me, we were connected way before we got to the dinner table. But it was a turning point, if you will. It's one way that they find out how open you are. You know, because it does. When you're having a meal or when you sit down for drinks, it is a very socially relaxed way of getting to know the people you're dealing with. And how they react to, you know, how you react to their eating or how they react to yours can tell volumes about how well you're going to get along. You know, like there are some cultures on this planet where, you know, politely put, belching is a good thing, and in other cultures it's absolutely frowned upon. Right, you know, at the end of a meal. The same as in their cultures. You know, there are some where, you know, where behavior, and they don't hold it against you if you don't do it, they do things the exact same way. But they do hold it against you if you react poorly to it. You know, once you're aware of where the boundaries are, you know, of what socially acceptable is, they look at how relaxed you are, how accepting of their methods you are. And it does not mean you have to participate in everything they do. Okay, like for instance, there are some drinks that humans just would not be able to stomach. And they won't force you to drink it. Once they understand what a human can tolerate, they may well offer you. But you turn it down for whatever reason, as long as you do it politely, they're not going to complain too much. But it's very much a way of getting a little closer on a social level. You know, it's not a question. The one thing we got to understand is it is not a lab-type environment. You know, when they go that route, it's not from a laboratory standpoint. They're not doing experiment. They're getting dinner. And yes, on the starships, they very definitely have a time that they try and get people. Much like in today's world, on a submarine or on the battleships, you have a definitive time when everybody goes to eat. You still leave a skeleton crew in place, but there is a timing factor. That's the biggest issue there. But yeah, it's very much a social event. And the bigger the event, the more food and drink they tend to have.
Derek wants to know if you've ever eaten Sasquatch.
No. Wara, yes. Sasquatch, no.
All right. We got about 2 minutes here before we got to go to break here at the top of the hour. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Catherine is asking, Keith, do you have full cognitive recollection of your adventures?
90% of the time. Sometimes I have trouble with piecing together which order things happen in. But then that's a problem I have with everything on this planet too. But yeah, most of what I go through now is very cognitive. I've still got some spots that I'm having trouble pulling back together, but they happened when I was a kid, and they were abductions. The normal get taken, do not get asked, end up, in my case, getting tortured. Well, I call it getting tortured. They called it an experiment. They wanted to see how much it took to break my arm. Not happy with that one. They were looking for tensile elasticity.
But you do have full recollection of every time you go, or once out of every 2 times, once out of every 3-4 times?
Yeah, the ratio, but I can tell you most of it, the answer is yes. Like, the reason I don't research a lot of this stuff is because I remember what it is. And I fully acknowledge the fact that a lot of what I talk about, people are going to look at it and go, you couldn't have seen that much. And I wish I could agree with them. There are many things that I remember seeing that I would really like not to have.
Right. I think that's a good place to leave it right now as we go to break here at the top of the hour. Our Keith Andrews, the ET Connection, happens the first Friday of every month. Keith's next appearance on Spaced Out Radio will be on Friday, July 5th. What a way to come out of the 4th of July hangover with a little bit of woo from our Keith Andrews. I can't think of a better way to do it. I really can't. Hey, do me a favor. If you're in one of the chat rooms, make sure you put your questions in capital letters so I do not miss them. I don't want to miss your questions. Just keep it up, people. We're doing great tonight. Let's round it up before we head into the weekend. One more hour to go on Spaced Out Radio. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thaw. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. a spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to all of you around the world, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I invite you to stick around spacedoutradio.com for Saturday and Sunday nights where I host Spaced Out Weekend. Let me take you on a wild ride of weird and strange topics from ghosts and ETs to remote viewing, psychic phenomena, and so much more. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time on Spaced Out Weekend, where we own the night.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
We're into the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us this weekend while I am off finding my Zen, my Chi, some ghosts and Sasquatch. You can tune in to Tessa Nicole Thomas for Saturday and Sunday night Spaced Out Weekend, 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM, and AM 1560 KDNF in Dangerfield, Texas. On the digital side, we're glad to have Revolution Radio on board. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gaberlunzi. Gaberlunzi is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night, right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Should be completed. The brand new look by Monday. The Gavinator wants to finish it up this weekend, so stay tuned. Our Keith Andrews is here tonight with the ET Connection. He comes in the first Friday of every month to break down experiences that you are having. Sometimes it gets a little weird, sometimes it gets a little strange, but the one thing it is always fun. Keith, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and welcome back to all our listeners.
Not a problem, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you here. We're going to start off with a question from PBR, who is asking, Keith, do you have actual friends that are aliens?
Yes. I'm presuming you want a longer answer than that.
I would love one.
Yeah, one of my best friends, quite frankly, of the off-worlds, is a chap by the name of Kulak. He is a Struzazian. And he stands just over the 8-foot mark. Built like a freight train. You do not want to... I mean, this guy, he's a gentle giant. I remember one time when he ran into another individual I know, and all he did was reach out to let them know he was there. He touched their shoulder, and the shoulder dislocated, and he got this really... You gotta try and picture a reptilian having a confused look on his face. But he pulls his hand back really fast, and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, fragile, aren't they?" Now, understand, that wasn't quite the language he was using, but that was the gist of what he was saying. But I've got that. I have a fairy that is a really good friend of mine. And, of course, there's also a dwarf that I know. I know actually a number of dwarves. And yes, I do mean the ones that you look at, that everybody writes about living under the mountains. They do. And then, of course, I've got another good friend of mine is a vegan. Vegans are that neat little, they're an insectoid type with absolutely no pain center. You know, they do not understand pain at all. Needless to say, they don't have anesthetic.
Let's go move on here to another question. This one comes from Shar, who is asking, if an alien visits someone, does that mean they have been coming to that person all their life?
No, not at all. Some people don't get their first encounter until much later in life. You know, and the fact that they're coming does not mean that they've been there before. It's not like, oh, how far back has it gone and why haven't I known about it before? It may well be the first time. But what can trigger that is if the person has a mindset shift where they're finally ready to look at it, or they've had something that has shifted the way they're looking at life in general. You know, traumatic experiences can trigger a visitation. You know, so no, absolutely not. Just because you haven't seen it, just because you just remember it at this point, does not mean it's been going on for years prior. It also doesn't mean that anybody else in your family or in your neighborhood, for that matter, has been taken.
Do they only come once at times? Or if once an abductee, always an abductee?
No, sometimes it's one visit, they're in, they're out, they're gone. You know, I mean, if they're looking for something in particular, if they're coming in to look at some particular chemicalogical interaction, and it didn't affect you, they're only going to take the blood sample once and go, no, that's a null test. We're just not going to worry about it.
Right.
Okay. It's not like the cancer problem where once you've had cancer, everybody worries you're going to get it again. Okay, once you get abducted, it may only happen once. You know, and sometimes...
How do they choose, Keith, how do they choose that? Who gets abducted once and who gets abducted multiple times?
That depends on the race that's doing it and what they're looking for on the abduction. Okay, ultimately it boils down to how they go about picking exactly who to start with. That's a whole lot more complicated than you might think, but how they determine if they go back is if they're going in looking for a specific marker and you don't have said marker, then they're not going to pick you up again. You know, if you got markers that say, hey, this is an ongoing evolution that we really need to keep an eye on, then, yeah, you're likely to go and get picked up again.
What would be some of those markers?
Well, now we have to go into the subquantum level of discussion. But it's literally the link between it's the third component, that was easy to say. Third component of a cell structure. Like you've got your proton, your neutron, and there's also a null, which is your absolutely neutral component of the cell that they look at to see what the interaction is between the proton and neutron on a subquantum level to figure out if it's having the impact that they're looking for, or if it's got the predecessor to an evolving ability or an evolving sense. You know, I think that's the look at it. You know, something else to look for is floating pigments.
Floating pigment?
Yeah. In other words, if you've got a human whose pigmentation is shifting, like it's not staying static, then you can bet somebody's going to come and look into it to find out why, because it's an evolutionary phenomenon.
PBR is asking, Keith, do you possess any presents or gifts from your alien friends? If so, what are they?
I would love to give him a definitive answer there, The best way I can put it, because I really don't know. I mean, I am the way I am. Some people have seen very different things. You'd be more likely to be able to answer that question than I would, in all fairness, Dave. Because from my standpoint, I've always been the way I am. You know, so I really don't have an answer.
But have they ever given you any crystals, any outside of like human downloads or anything like that? Have they given you anything physical?
No. No, the closest thing I've got that was physical wasn't given to me by one of them, but did come from off-world. I ended up with a piece of moldavite straight out of the Czechoslovakian impact. But that was given, and that was brought back by a human. But no, I don't have what you would consider an off-world gift. Of course, in all fairness, I didn't ever need one. Which, yes, it does lead that neat little question for the skeptics of, well, how do we know what he's telling you is not just his imagination? Sad to say, you get to figure that one out.
All right, let's move on here. Sharon is asking, are the small grays robots?
No. There are small grays, and there are small grays that are robots, but small grays on the whole are flesh and blood. They are scientists. Just like humans have made robots that look like humans and other animals, grays have done the same thing. But the grays themselves are flesh and blood. Very sentient, and no, they are not cloned to the point of extinction. You know, they're not a fading clone race. They're also not on the verge of extinction. Okay. I mean, quite frankly, they're likely going to end up colonizing another planet or two in the near future, but that's simply because that's the way the world works for them.
Interesting. Any of the cryptids on this planet, Bigfoot, fairies, gnomes, dogman, sea monsters, are any of them alien species?
Well, the Chitawari is. Well, sorry, no, my apologies. The Chitawari is from here. The Chupacabra is an off-world pet that got away. Okay, most of the cryptids here actually evolved here. The Dogman, on the other hand, quite frankly, yeah, they come from Sirius. You know, and there's a lot of them that come from there. As far as Sasquatch, no. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call him, he evolved here. On the other hand, the Wara, which looks very similar to Sasquatch, are off-worlders. And a whole lot more aggressive.
Where are they located?
You mean here, or where are they from?
Well, let's start with where are they from here?
Oh, you'll find them in many of the wooded areas. Okay, I know for an absolute certainty myself, when I was out in Maine a few years back, they were out in the woods there. I know they're in the woods in BC. And considering the area, like in all fairness, when we went down to when we were down in Jumping Gemini, where we were at for the conference last year, down in Washington. I didn't go out in the woods there, but I would lay odds that you'll find them out there as well.
Right.
Because I prefer the wooded areas. I think the best place you can likely to find them is right in the redwoods of Oregon.
How many alien species are vegetarians, according to Uncle Dale? Well,
I have no idea, according to Uncle Dale. But, in all fairness, but I would have to roughly guess probably a little less than a quarter of them probably are true vegetarian. Bearing in mind, a true vegetarian doesn't eat meat. And most races are omnivorous, meaning they eat both. But you'll get probably less than a quarter of them that are true vegetarian, and you end up with about the same amount, percentage-wise, that are true carnivore. But actual numbers couldn't even begin to guess.
All right. A51 in the chat room and Spreaker wants to know, how real are abductions? I have recently kind of become skeptical of them, but don't doubt they happen.
Well, I'll tell you, for the people that have been abducted, they're about as real as they can get. It's kind of like how real is falling down a set of stairs. And no offense taken, so, I've asked the same question myself. But they are extremely real, with long-lasting ramifications in many cases.
Okay.
I am glad to hear that even though he's becoming skeptical, he's still got the open mind, knowing that they're working, that they do happen, or accepting the fact at least that they do happen. Hopefully, quite frankly, he never actually has that experience himself.
All right, let's move on here. Jen wants to know, what is with Rh negative blood? Why do people discuss it, and aliens?
That is one of those questions that I love, because Rh negative is simply a blood type. And it is only useful in certain tests that they're running or certain pieces of information they're looking. But it's just as normal for them to grab somebody with Rh negative blood and O positive. It depends on what the particular race is looking for or what tests they're running. If you're trying to study how Rh negative recipients deal with certain things, you're going to grab people that have Rh negative blood. And answer to the question, and you'll love this one, the way they find out who is Rh negative is real easy. Hack the hospital database. You can find out where the people are, who they are, and go and get them. Their methods of finding things out are not all, if you will, a bizarre method. Sometimes they use your own technology against you, as it were. I'll tell you, they find it a whole lot easier since computers were invented to track down who's got what type of blood. Used to be a case where it was all on paper, and I'll tell you, that's a pain in the neck to find. But no, it really does depend on what tests they're running.
All right. You ended that way too quick. I didn't kill the mosquito that was flying around me, man.
Oh, sorry. I told you earlier, use a flamethrower. It works.
I'm not burning the studio, man. I am so not burning the studio. So, you also mentioned O positive blood there. I'm O positive.
That's okay. I'll forgive you.
Hey, I got the blood that anybody can use, man.
Yeah, for the number of times I've ended up in the hospital, you'd think that somebody would have ended up finding out what my blood type was. But I've never actually asked, so I have no idea what mine is. I know I've got it. But yeah, the point being, O positive, B negative, AB positive, it doesn't really matter. It depends on what they're looking for. It just so happens that that when you're looking at the Rh negative, a lot of the time, especially when you're looking at anything that is experimental on their part, that particular blood type is a little easier to work with. But it is not a question of, that makes you an automatic target. The one thing that we really have to keep in mind here is no individual blood type is being targeted as a primary source, if you will. But from the shadow walkers, I have found out one thing. The different blood types do have different flavors.
They got you drinking blood now? Are you a vampire?
Oh, God, no. I mean, in all fairness, I like the flavor of it, but, do I drink it? No. Shadow walkers do. But no, myself, quite frankly, no. First of all, it's two things. I'm not overly fond of tomato juice either.
Right.
Of course, there were years ago I did drink a lot of tomato juice. Of course, I was drinking an awful pile of Caesars.
We got about 2.5 minutes before we go to break at the bottom of the hour here. Keith is going to stick with us through the top of the show. So, Keith, in regards to the whole blood type issue, it really doesn't matter what blood type you are. If you have something they need or that intrigues them, they're coming to get you.
Bingo. Absolutely. It is not a question of, if you find out you're a certain blood type, that does not put you on the top of the shopping list. And I really wish I could kill that rumor. Because I'll tell you, it's like I heard years ago. Somebody did a report on the number of suicides. And when they did the report, the person that did the report chalked out, they pointed out a statistic for one group of people that was playing a certain game. And they said, something to the effect of 25% of people playing this game committed suicide. And the guy that was analyzing this looks at it and goes, I'd love to know how many of those people were playing chess. So I have no doubt that people have done the stats on RH negative. But I also know that the stats have been done on the others, and you'll probably find them all about the same.
Why is that?
Well, because like you said, it depends on what they're looking for. The type of blood is just one of the things. I mean, we can go into the different cell structures and the fluid content in the different cells as another marker, which humans have not developed technology far enough to gauge yet. Of course, in all fairness, humans are still looking at the cell structure as a proton, the proton, or not. What the heck is it now? I'm not a biologist, so you'll have to forgive me on that one. But on the atom, you've got your proton, your neutron inside, and then you've got your electron outside. Mankind still has not figured out how to quantify the third component of an atom. And so mankind is not getting all the information as far as how these guys are picking what they're looking for.
Keith, we only got about 10 seconds here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to hold on. We're having a lot of fun here with our Keith Andrews tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to continue the interview after this. So if you have questions that you want asked, come into one of our chat rooms, either on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, in our Spreaker chat room, or on Revolution Radio. Come on in. The water's fine. 30 minutes to go with our Keith Andrews till we wrap up the week. We'll be back on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters right here in the frozen Canadian tundra. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Gavinator is almost complete, our website. It's going to look good. The construction is almost done. We should have it up and running by Monday night's show, so stay tuned for that. Normally, we get into the SOR Newswire and the thought of the day, but we're having a lot of fun with our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection tonight, so I just figured, what the heck? It's Friday night. Let's have some fun and continue on this awesome discussion with Mr. Keith. Comes in the first Friday of every month. Thank you for joining us, bud.
Well, thanks for having me. And welcome back, everybody who's listening. Glad you're here.
We appreciate your time as well. Now, I want to ask you in regards to the whole military aspect, what do the UFOs or the extraterrestrials think of the militaries of the world trying to track them down on radar? Is it just a big game for them playing with our, what would be primitive technology for them?
Quite frankly, in some cases, yes. Some of the pilots literally do it just simply to make to cause a disturbance. You know, humans would call them hot doggers, right? And they will. They'll buzz a plane. They'll buzz a ship just because, right? It's like, okay, you're trying to track us. Try and track this maneuver. You know, it's kind of like when humans try and catch up to them in the interceptors. And, you know, the UFOs will hang back, right? Let them think they're getting close and then take off. But it really isn't a question of, on the whole, of are you going to catch them? You know, the fastest missile that mankind can fire off a ship is if the off-worlder is paying attention, their ship will outrun the fastest missile the man's got.
Obviously.
You know, I mean, people think the car is going from 0 to 60 is really fast. Try going from 0 to 600 in less time.
No, I think that's great. I think that's absolutely great in regards to that. So the way that they are teasing our fighter pilots of the world, or our best pilots that are around,
right?
Are they testing out the capabilities of what we have on a aggressive level, or
No.
are they? Is it like cat and mouse?
And you're sort of on the right track. Sometimes they are testing them not from an aggression standpoint, from an evolutionary standpoint. How far have these people come? Right. A lot of the time what you'll end up with, though, is you'll end up with, like I said, humans would call them hot doggers. Somebody going out on a run with the ship for whatever reason and decides, hey, there's a plane, let's buzz the thing. Or there's a ship, let's cut down and just, throw a little bit of a disturbance just on principle. Right. But when they're actually when the off-worlders are actually tracking it, what they're doing is checking technological level to see how mankind is progressing. They're still really confused with why mankind won't work together, because their technology would advance so much faster if they did. Basic rule of thumb. If you're not ducking bullets, it's easier to develop things. That's one of the reasons they keep looking at it going, okay, building weapons, learning weapons is absolutely a good idea. Because when you get off planet, not everybody out there is nice.
Right. I can see that.
You do want to be able to defend yourself, absolutely. But when you say, are they doing it from an aggressive standpoint, they're not testing it to find out military strength. Because it would be a 15-second fight from their standpoint, and mankind across the planet would be grounded. Okay. In 15 seconds, there wouldn't be a plane in the air except for hang gliders. Okay, but are they looking to see how far mankind has come? The answer is absolutely yes. They're particularly interested in doing reverse reads on mankind's surveillance equipment. Okay.
Gotcha.
Things like radar, that sort of thing. The ironic part is that they're waiting for mankind to figure out that if you actually bombard the radar pulse with the ultraviolet, it changes the receptivity of the radar pulse, making it easier to see what many people would call, your cloaked ships. Makes it easier to see them.
Right.
But basically, keeping the sciences separated.
Interesting. Sharon has a question. She is asking, can you call your friends up in the sky and have them make a house call at my house? Can you tell them I'm just an Earth girl and am willing to go for a ride?
Well, that's a dangerous idea. First of all, the answer would be no. That's been asked multiple times. I mean, technically I could ask them. But the reality is that the protocols they follow, I don't actually have a whole lot of say on it. Number one, and there's a couple of reasons why I don't do it. But number one is they have their own rules that they follow and their own protocols and their own experiments that they're running. Right. And so, no, I don't have that kind of input. And the only people they tend to ask me about are the ones that I personally know. They talk to me about the generalities, not about specific individuals on the whole. Although, in all fairness, it's not a bad question. I've had one person that asked me that question that ended up being taken shortly thereafter.
Is it about putting the energy out to the world and saying, hey, I want to go?
Well, you can do that, but that's a bad idea. That's kind of like ringing a dinner bell for a bird to ring a dinner bell for a cat. I'd like to go for a ride. I just want to meet one of you guys just because. It's not a good idea. Because there are races that will quite readily come and collect you. Of course, they won't bring you back, but what the heck? Because they'll just take a look at it and go, well, you asked to go, so we took you. What's the problem?
Yeah, but isn't it about the intention you put out?
Oddly enough, it's about the intention they put out when they come and get you, not yours.
Okay, define that.
Intention has some bearing on how things happen, yes. But what they found out a long time ago was the number of people that go, I want to have, I want to be taken, I want to go for a ride, etc. What they found out very early on was many of the people that said, I want to go, were not mentally prepared to handle the stress. And that result, it caused way too many problems, so they just made a direct, they made a guideline that went, just because somebody wants to go does not mean we're going to go and get them. Because don't forget, one of their primary concerns is they're trying not to do a massive disturbance on the person's life. And I realize many people do not get this, that, being abducted is it's a life-altering experience. I believe the way I heard it put best was, it's better to, it's better to think about it, or it's easier to deal with it if you're thinking about it, than it is to actually have it happen.
Right. I can understand that.
Think of yourself before it happened to you. Your whole life took a complete swap as soon as it happened, because reality all of a sudden doesn't apply anymore. See, in a sense, I was lucky. Mine got twisted before I got off the ground.
But let's say I'm being visited by a great group of ETs. Can I not invite my friends over to share that experience? Are they not going to allow that?
Oh, they'll allow you to invite them. They may not take them. The funny part was I actually had somebody in the same car one day when I was taken. I was driving, by the way. In that case, they took me and left the other individual behind. Right. And then on a different occasion, both me and the passenger were taken. So only it wasn't an invite. We just got taken. I was not happy on that trip. So yeah, you can absolutely invite them. But that is no guarantee that they're going to get taken. You may end up being taken and then being left there unconscious.
Why would they be not wanting to bring others who are volunteering to go?
Couple of possibilities. Okay, and again, this is something that there are so many variables, but a couple of obvious possibilities. The person wanting to go has ulterior motives beyond just, I want to have the experience. Number two, a more dominant problem would be, mentally speaking, yes, they want to go, but they're not mentally capable of handling it. And that's something that the off-worlders will spot on the subquantum wavelength. They'll do the scan and go, nope, not taking them. Because they don't want to send back a vegetable. Or somebody with a psychotic episode. That's a couple of the issues.
Well, that brings up another good question. What about people who are disabled, handicapped, mentally unstable? Things like that, because we always talk about regular humans getting taken, but do those with disabilities or handicaps get taken as well for study?
Absolutely. In a case like that, they're looking to find out why you guys haven't straightened it out yet. Okay, like, the reality is they pick up people that are handicapped and still breathing and go, okay, now how come this culture keeps the person alive and this person terminates them before they're born? Right, so they look at that side of it, they look at what the damage is. And many times the so-called handicaps are not handicaps from the off-worlder standpoint. A prime example is your ADD or ADHD. The off-worlders do not see that as a mental problem. When you take a look at things like CP, from their standpoint, it's curable. So it's not a problem. It's not a disadvantage. It's kind of like being born with one eye a different color. It's not a big problem from their end. So I understand what humans call handicap, the off-worlders don't necessarily call the same thing.
Okay. I hadn't really thought about it that way. But I guess we can go with that. Keith, as we got about 5 minutes left here in the show, I want to say thank you for going the distance with us.
Well, thanks.
What are some important aspects that people should watch out for if they think they have been abducted or made some sort of contact?
Well, one of the biggest things to do, one of the things you watch for, see if you keep an eye out for, marks that you haven't seen on you before. A change in dietary requirements can be an obvious one, or a change in your behavior. For instance, and maybe your friends have spotted. One of the obvious ones is if all of a sudden your friends are telling you, how come you're always edgy or you're always looking behind you? Okay, the odds are if you have that kind of a major personality shift, behavioral shift, then you may well be dealing with an abduction. Now, the thing is, and I'll put it, because I'm on your show, I'll put it this way, and I realize there's a whole reporting routine out there. My first suggestion would be get a hold of Dave. He will know people to get you in touch with. But find somebody you can talk to that's not going to go, you're completely nuts. Because we can safely say Dave isn't going to tell you right on the phone at the first call that you're completely nuts. Thank heavens for that, eh?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. It has happened. What about if they don't? What if they don't know, but they have the suspicion? Is there a difference, Keith?
Oh yeah. The fact is, if you've got an pressing suspicion of it, then start documenting your thinking. Like, start a journal right away. Okay. And what you do is you write down what you're feeling, and remember to put the time of day that you're feeling it. If you're waking up thinking that you had one and you feel like it was only a dream, write it down with the date and time in as much detail as you can. But it would be an idea to have a pad of paper by your bed at that point. So as soon as you wake up, before anything fades, even if all you can remember is, I remember being in a room, write it down. By writing it down, you'll start bringing the memory to the surface. You'll be able to get it on paper, and then you'll be able to look back and start, cross-correlating it. That's a couple of the methods of figuring out what's going on.
We only got about 2 minutes left with you tonight, Keith. Want to say a big thank you for coming on the show again. It's always a pleasure, because we will see you again on Friday, July 5th, for another edition of the ET Connection, which is always cool, always fun. Why don't you take... Go ahead.
No, I just love the questions that come through this audience. It's just fabulous.
Do me a favor. Tell the audience, take some time in the next 90 seconds or so, to where they can find your information and your videos.
Well, the easiest way to find it is on my YouTube channel, which is R. Keith Andrews. You can find it there, and usually at the bottom of the video I'll have a bunch of contact info. You can find me on Facebook under Ronald Keith Andrews or Inner Voice Enterprises, both of which have a hand-carved UFO as my lead-in picture to make sure that you got the right person. Okay. And so you can also get a hold of me at Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca. And absolutely, I'll be more than happy to answer questions if you've got them, or either directly or on the show when I get back, on the next show. People think about, well, it's a stupid question. There are very few stupid questions. There are some that definitely rank there, but that's the easiest way to find me. And of course, we've got the September 28th down in Washington. We've got the conference that both you and I are going to.
Yes. The Forest Moon Paracon, September 28th. We'll be speaking there. Keith, I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio again. We'll talk to you on July 5th. Also want to give a big shout out to Captain Shirk, who's been working hard on getting our news ready for the brand new look website. We're hoping to launch our brand new website come Monday. I know the Gavinator is going to be working all weekend on it, so just stay tuned with that, and hopefully we will get things done here ASAP. You've been extremely patient. This weekend, while I am off finding my Zen, my Chi, some ghosts, and Sasquatch, you have Tessa Nicole Thomas here for Spaced Out Weekend, Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks this week to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms, on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, wherever you may be. Please remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thanks for telling your friends, doing your part this week to make us bigger and better every single night. Because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. I will talk to you on Monday. Mr. Bumblefoot. We need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.